Council regular meeting Monday, December the 11th, 2017. Chief, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Right. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Tim.
Present.
John.
Present.
Patricia. Bo.
Here.
Sarah. Here. Nate.
Here. Just a few announcements I have. Back in the fall, we had a little bit of a problem with our residents blowing leaves into the street. And not only did they blow them into the street, but they blew them up that high in piles. So what we need to do is come up with something, council, to where that if they would just bag them up, we'll come and pick them up. Because what happens at that street sweeper, especially if they get wet, then the sweeper goes down. We just got one of those, and if it goes down, then we can't clean the streets. So what we have to do is come up with something in the fall of the year to make sure that we can pick those leaves up. If our residents want to just bag them up, then we'll come and pick them up and try and keep them out of the streets.
Will that require an ordinance to
No,
require
no,
baggage?
no, I don't think so. We'll just have to make a decision from City Hall as to what we want to do. Main Street had their Christmas parade last night, and I thought it was, not last night, but Saturday, and I thought it was good. It was there was a pretty good crowd there. As far as I'm concerned, it was the way a parade should be. It was short, sweet, and productive. Trail Town tomorrow is going to receive an award from Governor Bevan, and all city council members are invited to be there. That'll be at noon at the Mountain Home Place. Is there anything from tourism, Josh? Do you have anything that you want to
No, you're good.
announce from tourism?
I'm good if you're good.
I'm good. I want to bring up just a couple of things right quick. Just food for thought, council. To change the meeting times to 5 p.m. Tim, would you have a problem with that?
No,
Anybody else have a problem with that?
Ronnie does.
Meeting
Would you have a problem with that?
I would be here, but fiscal court's meetings at 4:30, they're usually out by an hour, but tonight it went long.
Okay, well, this is just food for thought, maybe changing it to 5 o'clock and also.
Don't do it on my account if it's gonna help in some way,
Well, we can always make arrangements, and possibly moving it from here to the SIP Center. Just food for thought. I'm just throwing it out for council.
I'm flexible myself.
Council, try to
I'm
think
a little
about it.
bit
I wouldn't want it to be any later
Right,
instead of 6 p.m. But if you move it back.
okay. And also,
we didn't deliver them.
also, we've got two streets that need to be named in the plaza. When Dahlem bought that property off the Short family, there's two streets that we got to name out there.
Really?
And just food for thought now, okay? I'm gonna recommend we name one after Jim Leake and one after Fran Gerald.
If you put that in the
That
form,
sounds good
I'll
to
put
me.
that in the form of a motion if everybody wants to do that.
Well, we can do that now if you want to.
I'll put that, I so move that we name the
I'll second.
streets out there in honor of Jim Meek and Fran Gerald.
Got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes.
Yes, he seconded. Move on to business. Item number 1, we need to approve the agreement for federal funding for the Paintsville sidewalk improvements, which is in phase 2.
Just the minutes, approval of the minutes.
Okay, then let's
I'll
approve the
make
minutes.
that motion.
I'll
On the
second
minutes.
it. I second the approval of the minutes.
All in favor? Opposed? Approval of departmental reports.
I so moved.
I'm second.
All in favor? Opposed? Approval to pay bills as presented.
I would like to make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? First item of business, we need to approve the agreement for federal funding for the Paintsville sidewalk improvements, which is in phase 2. Now-
What is phase two?
That is the $400,000 grant, which we have a 20% match, which is gonna be $80,000. Some of that, or most of it, can be done in kind.
Oh, good.
What we can't do in kind, we'll have to come up with the monetary funds, of course.
Well, when you say in kind, like labor,
Yes,
and we can use our city workers for
Yes.
that? Oh, that's good.
it's like maybe busting up the sidewalks,
Yeah,
taking
Remove
those
the-
out there and that type of thing, which would be in kind. That's good.
but we can't do a 80,000 worth. Can we or can we not?
I don't know. Kim, can we do the whole 80,000 worth?
Joe's here tonight. He might want to talk. Joe Davis.
Joe?
It would be very difficult to do that. Technically, you probably could, but I honestly can't imagine that you would have enough time with your city labor that they could take away from their day jobs to come up with $80,000 worth of in-kind.
Okay,
So, essentially, you're gonna have to come up with some sort of cash for that.
could you give this council maybe an estimate of monetary what we're come up with?
Actually, I could, the engineer would have to take a look at that and see how much of the work is feasible to be completed by your own labor force and what that labor would be worth at market value. And so the engineer would have to take a look at that and come up with a price for it.
Well, we're not gonna be able to start until better weather anyway, are
Right.
we?
That's correct. Probably the spring of the year.
Yeah.
At
So
least.
we've got time to discuss it and then time to.
Yes, we do. We have time to
But
discuss.
thank you for that.
Try to save some money.
Yeah, there we go.
And so are we determining what sidewalks are being improved for?
I think that's in the
No,
agreement,
that's-
isn't it, Joe?
The agreement is already in place for what, that's actually that stretch along Main Street, both sides.
Yeah, we're looking, Sean, from Dr. Coosa's office all the way to Euclid, the intersection of Euclid, on both sides of Main Street.
Oh, bad.
Well, okay. You know, not too long ago, we grinded down the sidewalks there where they had shifted and so forth. So, if that was not,
I don't think that was a good plan anyway.
That was in the past.
that's right. Yeah, let's move forward. Let's not review the past, I
Yeah, this is
understand.
in the future.
Absolutely.
Joe, is there anything else? we
If
need to
anyone
do?
has questions, I can show you maps and talk about specific areas, but that's the gist of the project, is that. And all this is asking for is the resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the paperwork and to complete the agreement with the cabinet to set aside those funds.
So actually, you want to move on to item number 2, to give me the authorization to sign the agreement.
And approve the agreement and give the resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Make said motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? We need to approve an annual letter of commitment for Paintsville Main Street.
I'm asking if we could table this to the next meeting.
I don't even know what it entails.
Well, it was in your.
Yeah, I know what it
It's
is.
in the packet. What it is it's a network program for the annual letter of commitment for Paintsville Main Street that has to be signed every year. Now, the way I'm reading this commitment is for January the 15th, 2018 through January 30, 2019. In your package, you had a paper explaining to you what that Main Street was supposed to do and what they need to do in the future and that type of thing. So, I have to sign this.
When do we meet again?
We meet, January the 8th. Is that correct?
But could we be given more information, on this network to see in the past that everything's been met before we sign it to continue on? Because I know it states here that you, communities may only be at the network level for 2 consecutive years. How long have they been at that level?
Well, honey, I can't tell you, to be honest with you. I've just been here a little over a year. All I know is that I don't feel comfortable signing a paper that I don't know that things are being done. So,
Everyone's in agreement with that.
That's why I said, can we table it and have more information that is being done, presented to council?
okay, so there's a motion to table it, and then you want to vote on it the next council meeting, or possibly have a special call meeting
To
to
be
vote
given
on
more
it?
information?
Yeah, that's fine.
Patricia's made the motion to table this one.
I'll second.
All
I
in
thought you
favor?
already did it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the last thing we have is we need to reappoint Mitch Kenner to the Paintsville Utility Commission. And I strongly suggest that.
I make a motion to reappoint Mr. Tanner to the Paintsville Utility Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
0 opposed.
I'll oppose it.
Open to council.
What are we doing on Carter Lane?
Ms. Kim?
I spoke to Libby, just right before dog work, and we're gonna be talking with Amanda on Wednesday. We've got some questions that we need clarification on, and so we'll know more after Wednesday, but it has been moved, acquisition of properties has been moved into phase 1. And so we may end up having to even request a little bit of extension of time in order for us to be able to purchase all the properties and to get everything in order. But I'll know more after Wednesday. And I can let everybody in council and all the residents know once I find out.
I got another one.
Okay.
How are we doing on the, I talked to Regina about 2 weeks ago, and she said they were still working on it, but how are we doing on that, tax or the insurance that we have to pay for
The flood insurance.
for the flood
The
insurance?
CRS,
How's that coming? Do we know anymore?
it's coming along all right. It's coming along all right, Miss Sarah.
So you think by next year at this time, maybe that, or well, let's see, October, I think is when everybody pays their September maybe,
Mhm,
that maybe they'll have a reduction in that?
I think so.
That'd be great.
I don't want to promise anybody anything, but I can tell you we are working extremely hard, are we not, Mr. McClure,
That is correct, Mayor.
to,
Oh, Regina indicated that,
Yeah.
but she told me so much, and she's got so much in her head that she already knows a lot more than I do about it. And she seemed to think that it was, but I just didn't, you know, I know what people ask me about it all the time, and I wanted them to know that we were still involved with it, and we're still trying to work hard on it. So I'm glad you affirmed that, so.
well, you can tell them this, you did a good thing calling that meeting. You did. I think we're making good progress, don't you, Mr. McClure?
Yes, yeah.
And hopefully we can get it to the point to where that we can be like Prestonsburg, and most of our residents will be moved out of floodplain.
That'll be wonderful.
that's what we're working on.
Yeah, that's killed me.
But I don't wanna make any promises to any residents, but I can promise you this, we are working extremely hard to take care of those people having to pay flood insurance. Anybody else from council?
I just want to welcome
Mayor?
Bo.
Oh, yeah, we need to welcome, Coach Roger Bo Belcher, City Council. Everybody give him a round.
They had a bid showing about the Narrows over here last week. Has anybody, you heard anything from that?
Yeah, what now?
The Narrows?
The road?
The road is closed.
Yeah.
By
They
FS
had-
Van Hook.
They had a bid showing last week. We got notification of it.
Kentucky?
Yeah, contractors, yes. We got notification of it, but we don't have any power lines
You
there.
asked the mayor, you asked the governor that tomorrow.
No, they had a bid showing. I just didn't know if you'd heard anything about,
I have not
because
heard
they
anything
had,
about it.
they had a site meeting. I think it was last Monday or Tuesday over there. So I think they're moving along.
That's a
as
good
far-
step.
Yeah.
Oh, it's,
As,
yeah.
and they told us they were gonna take all the dirt out there and was gonna fill the old Adams lot with that dirt and then gonna put rock back in there, drainage and all that, so. Hopefully they're moving along a little faster than what I was thinking they would. It's only been 5 years, you know, geez, so.
Well, you know, if it gets any worse, it'll get on the railroad track and everything else. That CSX ought to be, you know,
I
ought to
think
be involved.
CSX has already poured concrete walls.
That's, I mean, you know,
That's
they
what
should,
said.
they should
Hadn't been
care.
through there, but,
Yeah.
Can't get through that.
but evidently they're looking at it, so it's, maybe it's on the horizon. That would really help us.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm glad of, this council is aware of a lot of things. One is like the flood insurance, getting 1428 open back up, you know. To me, those are important things. Not that everything's not important, but there's things that are more important than others. I think the Taves Branch project is important, and I'll be explaining a little bit more to you about that as we go along. We're kind of moving pretty good on that too. But what we need to do is to try to get this city to, look, we gotta move forward. You know, we can't sit here stagnant anymore. So ideas, and whatever, we need to get out there and really get after things and, you know, make sure we get a lot of good things done. And I think we can do that. I really do. Anything else from council? Anything from the floor?
Just gonna throw something in here. Elaine Belcher's no longer at the Paintsville Herald. This is the new editor here. Introduce yourself. I forgot your last name.
That's just fine.
He's with the Paintsville Herald. He's the editor now.
I do not yet have cards that say Paintsville Herald on them, but if you want, these are my old Fort County cards.
What's your name?
Aaron Nelson, I was brought on
Aaron Nelson.
on Friday.
Not Candy Fred knows.
Yeah, I'll be sure you're not.
I'm originally from Paintsville. I grew up in Staffordsville.
You
And,
did?
I moved out to Moorhead for
Oh, here,
college.
come up here and shake my hand. I would be friends with the press.
So,
I thought you were Ralph and had lost a lot of weight.
Anything else from the floor? I'll make a motion.
I make a motion.
Second. We stand adjourned.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.